Thank you. Thank you, Shawn Michaels. Thank you, Shawn Michaels. I never thought I would say this, but thank you, HBK. I have to. I'm making it clear before I even review this. I thank Shawn Michaels for a real show, or real booking. I believe that's the time I'm going to use. Real booking. This show had real booking. It's not about being perfect booking, but compared to what you got in Raw, which was boring, and then you got a tournament that we were promised was going to be groundbreaking, that was supposed to be special only for Raw. What do we got? I know I can do this again. I'm not. I'm getting it done now because I want to focus on this and enjoy it for what parts worked and what parts didn't. But let's make this clear. SmackDown should not be involved. And this tournament is only 1 week. And we still got until the 27th. What was that? A boring show that literally had no tournament. We had 3 matches, 2 triple threats, and 1 ending thing, which means nothing. Garbage. Trash. Now, if you liked it, more power to you. I'm making it very clear. Whoever watched this video and hears me chewing out the show and you loved it, more power to you. That's what you like. That rose your boat. That's what you like. But someone like me, that's trash. And you got your opinion, I got mine. Hopefully we can live peacefully. But I'm telling you right now, this show right now I'm about to review is vastly superior and it's not even perfect. Let's get started. The first qualifying match for the Women's NXT Championship. This week, we got 2 matches. Next week, we get 2 matches. Probably the final week, we get 2 matches that culminates on the 28th. That is Battleground. We get Gigi Dolan versus Tiffany Stratton. Now, let me make this clear. Do I like Gigi Dolan? Yeah, I do like her. But I expected her not to win here. I knew Tiffany was going to be the one because it's obvious they've been grooming her. They made it very clear that Tiffany was supposed to be the next Mandy Rose. That's what this is. This is what she is. Taking away from her actual abilities and her actual looks. No one was happy that Mandy Rose left. Let's make that clear. No one was happy. So, we get Tiffany Stratton, who comes in, who doesn't have the body of a Mandy Rose, but is a good damn looking body. She's got good ability in the ring. She's actually pretty damn good. She actually can talk pretty well. So, Mandy Rose 2.0. Flat out. That's what she is. And I'm not surprised she lost. She was. And the thing that gets me about this match was, I don't know. You guys tell me below. But when you look at Gigi Dolan's own abilities, I've seen her do a better match in her sleep than this match. She did not look like she was into it. She did what she needed to do, but she was not into it. I don't know. Maybe the chemistry was off between these two, or it's a good possibility that she thought she was going to be pushed, and she's not. She's still stuck with Jesse James. So I don't know what it was. But you can tell she wasn't giving a very strong effort. She barely was doing it. It wasn't because of her shoulder either. I'm just saying this is just me. You tell me below. Now, what did we get here? The tag match between Dijak of Schism and the Gallus Boys, along with Joe Coffey by their side. Now, we did not get Joe Gacy there. He was not there. Alva Rain was there. He made it clear in the back. When they were getting ready to go out there, he said, I sacrificed myself for you guys. This is your shot. Take it. But then when he faced Alva, he said, I'm not going to be out there, but I'm going to take care of myself now. I need you to do exactly what I would do. And then she went out there and they did what they normally would do. But since Alva is not Joe Gacy, messing with the men, even though she's almost as tall as the men, does not mean she's going to mess like a man. So in the end, Gallus lost. No, well, not Gallus lost, but in a sense, Gallus lost. Because they did win. They won, no problem, yeah. But it's like they kind of lost because Schism at this point could have built this up with them going into Battleground. Why didn't they build this into Battleground? Why didn't they set this up to go into Battleground? Because I do believe that this should have been stretched to there. It's only a few weeks away. And I think after Joe Gacy managed to get them that shot, it should have culminated there. At Battleground, not here. Because it felt like they lost. Now, after the match was over, later after they had a little bit of drinky drink, and dealt with a little bit of the Creed brothers and Nyla Rose. Well, not Nyla Rose. I said Nyla Rose. Ivy Nile. I got Nyla Rose and Ivy Nile. I think it's because of the Nile and Rose. You know what I mean. But basically, and you know that once you see them in the pub, and once you see the family there, oh, you know something's about to happen. They said, hey, you still owe us a match. And we want that match. And pretty much that the little runt of the group of Gallus made it clear. It looks like almost a shillelagh. Things are different now. Get the hell out. And they said, we want our match. And then 4 more guys in the back who are probably Irish, showed up. And pretty much the underboss said, hey, we outnumbered. We need to go. And he said, okay, fine, no problem. So it's obvious they're going to build up into the match. But then I'm kind of like, do I want to see the family go up against Gallus at Battleground? Or would it have been better for Joe Gacy winning the match and then they set that up for Battleground? Which one would have been better? To be honest, the way they've been booking the family is much stronger than it has been for Dyad and Schism. Even though Schism has been booked pretty well, I can understand the reason why they did go with the family. But I'm not going to say that you could have not gone that way too. And it would have helped the Schism as well and Dyad. I'm just saying. Let's move on. We got Duke Hudson versus Bunnell. Now, Bobby Hobby annoyed a little bit of the assistant MVP teacher of Chase U. Now, let's make this clear. He is getting a kick out of it when it comes to Joe. I mean, not Joe. Well, let me give it to you like this. When it comes to Duke Hudson, not Duke Hudson. Yeah, Duke. When it comes to the Duke, the problem that gets me is that he should have already turned heel, and he hasn't. And I'm thinking about Joe Gacy. That's the reason why I brought up his name, Joe. Because shouldn't he have won Chase U? And should have turned a Duke over to the dark side, but didn't. Duke hasn't turned. He's still doing the MVP stuff with his award that he likes to sleep with and do something very... Let's just say he's doing some very interesting things by himself. I'm just saying, you know, the character Duke is doing some very interesting things with that trophy. He's having it in his room. He's drinking his wine or whatever he's drinking with a cigar in his hand and say, darling, it's time to have some fun. Takes the lid off and does something very dirty to his own trophy. You got my point. I'm just saying it should be that. They had the match due to the fact that Bobby Hobby pissed him off. And pretty much Duke wins, but there was something I noticed I did not like, but it only happened a few times during the show, and that is every punch, you get a zoom in. Zip. Punch, you got to zoom in. Zip. That pissed me off. That pissed me off. Guys, you know me. Sometimes a little bit of dramatic effect is cool. There's nothing wrong with it once in a while. And here at least it was basically with that match. I mean, they did kind of do a little bit with the other matches, a little bit. But at least it was very minimal. This is something I can understand and agree with, but I'm going to tell you I'm not always happy about it. When it comes up, it pisses me off, but I must give credit for credit is due. At least it wasn't through the entire night. There you go. Next, Eddie Thorpe versus Damon Kemp. Now, here's the problem. Eddie Thorpe, they want to do something with him, so I can understand him winning. But as it stands right now, if I had to compare a Damon Kemp to a Eddie Thorpe, Damon Kemp is better. And I'm not talking about his ring work either. I felt nothing from Eddie Thorpe. Again, I feel nothing from him. And I'm not expecting him to come out in Indian garb because he's Native American. He's got Native American blood. I'm not expecting him to come out in Indian garb and act like Tatanka or Chief J Strongbow. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for some character development. Something. When you look at Mickie James, she's hardcore country. That's what she is. But at certain points, sometimes she will show her heritage. When she finally went down the road and won her title, she was in full Indian garb. She did something in Indian garb that was special and important. Now I'm hoping that Thorpe will do the same thing if there's something special. But as it stands right now, I'm not feeling it. And having an Indian tribal tattoo, a Native American tribal tattoo, not a Polynesian one, an Indian tribal tattoo with the feathers on it, which is cool. I just don't feel it from him. I don't feel nothing of a character or even his Native American heritage. And I'm not asking him to do that. I'm not asking him to start coming out with the feathers in his head and coming out in garb like Chief J Strongbow. I'm not. But give me something to really care about him. The only thing he's doing is wrestling, and worse, he's barely able to even do the work. They said, and it was, what was it? Vic Joseph said, this guy is always in the gym, always busting the button. He's not talking about Damon Kemp. He's talking about Eddie Thorpe. And Eddie Thorpe could barely suplex. You're trying to put someone over who doesn't physically have the strength that you are stating. He can barely suplex him. He can barely do an overhead suplex where I believe Damon landed here instead of in the back of his head or his shoulders. It was sloppy. The guy needs to bulk up a little bit because sooner or later, if he's not careful, he's going to hurt somebody if he doesn't get a little more muscle. I'm not asking to be cock diesel, but at least be strong enough to do the moves properly. And it's not because he's skinny. He just hasn't worked out enough. It's obvious the way he's working in the ring. I'm just saying because, guess what? Damon Kemp is not that damn heavy. He ain't. I'm just saying, let's move on. Dragunov versus Dijak. Now, this is where it gets interesting. This, for me, wasn't a very long match, but I believe it was the best match of the night for me personally. It was very hard hitting. And I know about what happened with Jensen and Briggs versus Tank and Hank. I'm going to say what happened with the tooth in a minute, but I got to say this. Dragunov and Dijak had a good match. I enjoyed it. And when Dijak DQ'd the match, threw around hurt the timekeeper, threw around the ref, ended the match. And then you see him literally take the steps and put it on top of Dragunov on the floor outside. That'll probably be my thumbnail too. Was more interesting than anything because at least you know what Dijak's motivation is. Dijak was approached by Dragunov. Then Dragunov was approached by Dijak and pretty much said simply, you want feeling? I'll give you feeling. Are you having fun now? You feeling something? At least you know the motivation for both of them. Dragunov wants to know that he is the most toughest guy and he feels alive in violence. And the Punisher of Dijak, he loves giving pain as his own brand of justice. And he squashed a Dragunov under the steps. I'm just saying. Now, Tyler Bates versus Charlie Dempsey. Good match as well. Second best match due to the fact of how technical it was. Let's make this honest. And I want to say this very clearly. If Tyler Bates goes on to the main roster, I'm saying this now. If Tyler Bates tells them, okay, you can put me on the main roster, or better yet, get enough out of WWE and leave, that would be the wisest thing. Either to stay in NXT permanently or leave when his contract is nearing expiration. Because the minute he gets on the main roster, I do not believe he's going to survive. Because we still got Vince. The guy is not very tall. I think he's almost my height or shorter. He's a great wrestler. But what does that mean to Vince? Nothing. He will be annihilated by Vince if he sees him and says, oh, we got a British wrestler who's short. Let's turn him into a contender for the 24/7 championship. Or better yet, let's make sure that he looks stupid while he's doing it and let him fart like a... I still feel sorry for Natalia when she had to do those farts like that. He may do that to him. I don't trust Vince. Look what we got for Raw. Look what we got for Raw. I'm just saying. Joe Gacy comes out, looks at Wesley. Wesley gets nothing. He's not trying to do anything. And it's Dempsey that's coming out and saying, what are you doing? No, not Dempsey. Gruad. Drew comes over and said, what are you doing here? And then they get all taken out by Tyler, who basically gets taken out by Dempsey. And Dempsey gets to win due to the fact that after it was over, it comes down to one thing. Joe Gacy wants the North American title, so he messed over a Tyler Bates to do it. Pissing off a little bit of my boy. Again, another person that I knew. If you know me for years, if anybody's seen me for the last decade, you know I talked about Desmond Xavier like I talked about Eli Drake. The LA Knight. Check my you can check my Gump report on LA Knight, how I feel about him. But also Wesley the same way. There you go. Next, Briggs and Jensen versus Hank and Tank, who lost his tooth. Guys, you could say, dude, why don't you say this is the best match? Because you saw Tank, what is the guy, Ledger, lose his tooth in the match. No, it was a very hard-hitting match, but it doesn't mean it means anything. At least with this match, it did when it was Dijak and it was Dragunov. This had some meaning behind it, some story, something. They didn't. It was just a one-off match, which was extremely rough. That's the reason why once Tank got hit really hard, and I believe it was Briggs that clotheslined him, he turned over and went, his tooth fell out of his mouth with blood. He took a hard hit. So he'll be going to the dentist tomorrow, or it was yesterday. He's already gone to the dentist to probably get a tooth put in, or at least to make sure he's all right. If they picked up his tooth, took him into the back, put it in the freezer, he can go to an emergency dentist and get it put back in if there was possible. But it was a hard hit. That was nasty. I'm just saying. Damn. Now, the match that I don't agree with. I don't. Valkyria versus a Kiana James. I'm sorry, guys. If you like Kiana James like me, I'm telling you, she should have won. If you don't like Valkyria, here's the thing why I'm botching. Reason I'm botching is that I don't hate Valkyria. I just don't think her character works. And like Kiana James, and I do believe that she should have won it. But then I feel sorry for Valkyria because she just does not have a character that means anything. Because she doesn't act like Isla Dawn. She didn't act like Alba Fire. She didn't. She doesn't feel like someone important in Celtic or in any type of myth and legends that come from the UK. She doesn't. I just don't feel it from her. So when you see this match, which was a fine match, I'm not saying it was a bad match, and I'm not saying that Valkyria is a bad wrestler. It's just her character is a lot like Eddie Thorpe. She doesn't have one. She's just told that she has some of the aspects of something from Celtic history and culture. But there's got to be more to it. She needs to do a lot more. She's not doing it. At least with Alba Fire, I could notice that she's using aspects of a fire eater. And when it came to Isla Dawn, She felt like she was... Camera's a little crooked. When the battery died, I moved my camera so. But you get my point. At least with them, I felt it. Because they're themed Celtic warriors in a sense. Like Sheamus, like Drew, like Finn Balor. But with those three, you got the demon when it came to Finn. When it came to Sheamus, he was the Celtic warrior. He did the moniker for a while. And when it comes to Drew, he's got his sword that he named after his mom. And he always came out in his kilt. You feel it from them. But with Valkyria, you don't feel a damn thing. So, I'm sorry. I just can't agree with her. And I truly believe Kiana James got way more character development. And she's more farther along than Valkyria. Which I understand she's not going to win. But still, I would have liked to see her get further in. That's just me. Okay. Finally, the final match. Trick Williams versus a Bron Breakker. Now, this is what I was waiting for. For me personally. I'm not a big Trick Williams fan. I'm not. But I know that Trick has potential to do something good. He can talk. And from what I've seen him when he wrestles, it's not perfect, but he's okay. This was a chance for him to really show himself. And when he talked in the barbershop, when he was talking to Trick and everybody there, he made it very clear, this is about my time. Yeah, I'm going to honor you. Me and you, when we started together, we're partners. I've never been behind you. I've always been by your side. But now, what he's done to you and what he did to me, I got to man up. I got to do this. So I'm going for him. And you see Carmelo being very worried about him and said, don't worry about me. You take care of yourself. You're still hurt. You're not cleared yet. When you cleared, you do your business at Battleground. Now, it is my time to do my business. So we get the match. And we also got the vid pack from Bron Breakker talking about he's going to hurt and destroy Trick. So when we get the match, I will say this. I'm going to say it. I've never really said that Trick was a bad wrestler. He wasn't. I've never said he was a great wrestler either. He's more of a middle of the road. Until he can go off and branch on his own and really develop his character to go with his work, he's got average work. That's just for me. I need to see all around work that you got the physique, you got the gift of gab, you got the charisma, you got the ring work, but also to be a ring general. I haven't seen any of that yet because with Trick, he's always been with Carmelo. You don't see Trick by himself. So this was the first time we actually saw Trick do something for himself that he says openly for his character. So I gotta say this. This is better match than I expected it to be. And this is the better actual match I've ever seen Trick Williams do. I've seen him do a couple of matches, but this is the best one I've seen him do. Not because it was perfect. It wasn't. He was sloppy a little bit. Yes, his drop kicks were immaculate. No, they were good drop kicks. Straight to Bron Breakker's face. 4 times he did it throughout the match that it came right here. Very close to either here, here, or here. Very close to kicking straight to the face. Very good. Most can't do it. They either hit him here, or hit him here, or hit him here, or here. Really bad. Some people get nailed there. But he did well. And even though his ring work was not perfect, at least I felt something from Trick. And the crowd was after Trick. You got to give him that Trick. That's what they were calling for. And I could feel Trick Williams really... I'll give you like this. Whenever they call up Carmelo, whenever they call up Wesley, which I'm hoping they don't, because I don't think Wes is going to get treated well on the roster. I just don't see it. Even with Triple H there. I'd rather see him leave and go to AEW or go back to Impact. I don't fucking care. I don't want him to look like a jerk or an idiot going after the 24/7 championship. But I could see him going after North American and winning it. So when the match was over and he got in the Steiner recliner, the first time he got in it, he refused until he got cranked back and he tapped. Then he got into it a second time, and then Carmelo came out, and you expect, like how Vince would book it, that Carmelo's going to get over on Bron Breakker. No. I love you, Shawn Michaels. You did not go there. You let it work. You let Trick Williams get nailed. He couldn't help Carmelo. Carmelo tried to help his partner, and he gets basically speared for his trouble. Yes. Yes. Thank you. He should be hurt. He shouldn't be able to get over while he's injured with taped ribs. He got his ass cleaned. Now I care more about Battleground than Night of Champions, because particularly the championship is going to be on the line, and in actuality, I care more about this at the moment than I care about what's going to happen with the World Championship, because it's been rushed. Unless they change their mind in the next 2 weeks after this week, they're going to continue, which they're not. I care more about this. But it's just me. Peace.